Hey everybody, I'm James. I started this channel because one day I woke up and realized I was 43 but felt like I was 83. Every day my body could do one less thing than it could do the day before. So if you're like me and you've had enough, then put on your shoes and welcome to Getting Stronger. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Getting Stronger. So this morning, that's right, part 3 in our mobility series. If you haven't had a chance to watch part 1 and part 2, let me give you a quick 60-second recap. Part 1, we spent quite a bit of time discussing why mobility training is so vital, especially for people between the ages of about 30 and 60. We move way more than we lift. Therefore, mobility training should take up a larger portion of our attention than even strength training. So I showed you 2 very fundamental mobility drills. One was the seated squat, and the second was the dead hang. It only takes about 10 minutes to really help your body start to regain its normal range of motion, right? Because that's what it means to be able to move. Your body has to be able to move through its range of motion. Shoulder has to be able to go up and down. Your knees have to be able to bend, things like this. The seated squat really helps open up more of the lower body. It helps open up the hips, the knees, and the ankles, where the dead hang really starts kind of realigning your spine. In part 2, we continued adding more mobility drills. So today, the next 2, we're going to be focusing on 1, the bear crawl. That's right, the bear crawl. And the second is going to be a variation of the squat from a squat into a pike. And I'll show you what that's going to look like here in a moment. But before we get into the next 2, I'm actually going to practice what I preach. And I'm actually going to go and take about 10 minutes. And I'm going to do the first 4 exercises to warm my own self up before we get in today's workout. That was a good little quick warm-up. Get my heart going, get my shoulders, my core, everything starting to loosen up. So today, exercise 1, the bear crawl. Now, if you follow fitness channels on YouTube at all, or you're into the fitness world, you probably think to yourself, man, everybody these days is talking about the bear crawl. I watch these same things that you guys are watching. And when I see a lot of people talking about the same types of movements and exercises, I finally decided to give it a shot myself and see what all the fuss was about. And I'm so glad that I did. I love it so much, I incorporate bear crawls into my morning warm-up routine every single day now. Before I demonstrate the bear crawl and show you how to do it properly, I wanted to give you a very brief explanation as to why the bear crawl is so crucial to our mobility training. And I found these great quotes online by a couple of trainers, and I can't say it any better than they did. I'm just going to read to you what they said. So this is a quote by a personal trainer in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Hey, Lancaster, that's where my dad's from. He said, the bear crawl strengthens your midsection and improves your ability to stabilize your spine. So to this trainer, the bear crawl was primarily about your core. As you walk along with your hands and feet, your whole core is being forced to stabilize and keep your back straight. Otherwise, you start rolling. But you don't want to roll. You want to keep straight, as I'll demonstrate in a moment. He said, think of the bear crawl like a traveling plank. You have to maintain the same rigid, neutral torso you would while in a plank position, but now you're moving forwards and backwards and right to left. As your arms and legs move, the more than 24 muscles in your core must resist the urge to rotate and flex. And here are a couple of pointers that Men's Health pointed out about the bear crawl. Number 1, it builds strength. It says the bear crawl strengthens your core and works your entire body especially your shoulders, arms, and glutes. Another point, they say that it increases your mobility. The bear crawl improves your hip mobility. When you crawl, your hips go from fully flexed to fully extended, taking the joint through its entire range of motion. This makes it a perfect warm-up drill. Plus, it gets your heart pumping and wakes up your central nervous system. Okay, that's good. And then it improves your conditioning. The bear crawl is a full-body movement, so it's a no-brainer to use as a conditioning tool. It increases your muscular endurance and improves your overall conditioning base. Fantastic. And then lastly, it says bear crawls are versatile. One person said, I often use the bear crawl, especially with young athletes and people who are not ready to be loaded with resistance training yet. Once you have sufficient strength in your core, you can try more challenging variations, like moving laterally and backwards. Now that I've given you some explanation as to why it's so important, let's actually get into the demonstration and I'll show you how it looks and how to do it properly. And get into a position like this. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. So just like this. Then you just lift your knees up. You want to try to really focus on keeping your back straight. Okay, so that's the proper form for the starting position. Man, my brother's pool cleaner keeps shooting water all over us. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a couple of bear crawls forward and a couple of bear crawls backwards. That way you can see. Without falling into the pool. So that's how you do a bear crawl. And it is fantastic. Okay, now the second exercise. I'm super psyched because I love the bear crawl, right? So now I'm good and warm. But the second exercise is another one I've just learned recently from a guy who runs a channel called Strength Side. He's a huge mobility expert. The guy is awesome. Check out his YouTube channel. I don't know his name, but the channel is called Strength Side. And he's really awesome at teaching you how to do these really great mobility drills and stuff like that. Most of what I learn and incorporate, I'm learning from guys like him. So check him out. And this second exercise is a variation of the seated squat. You go from a squat into a pike. This is great because not only do you get the benefits of what you learned that the seated squat does for your hips and your knees and your ankles, right? But when you go back into the pike, it really stretches out your lower back, which for people like me who struggle with lower back pain, and I just want to say too, if you do suffer with lower back pain, these mobility drills don't necessarily make these things go away permanently. What I find is that when I wake up in the morning and I have this lower back pain, doing this mobility routine makes the stiffness and soreness go away for the day. But oftentimes when I wake up the next morning, my lower back hurts again. So you just have to do it again and again and again. So these are not like magic pills or magic potions or things that is going to make it, all go away. But it's something where you have to do it every single day. Sometimes I actually even do it twice a day because my back might start stiffening up as I go through my daily routine. So remember, fitness is not like a 1 hour, in the morning or 1 hour in the evening. Fitness, movement, strength, all of this is stuff we have to do all day long. Our bodies are made to move all day. We can't, move for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 3 times a week, and then think that, I'm so surprised my body hurts. It's not moving. I can't lift. Movement is something we do all day, and we have to train all day. So also with the pike, another great benefit of the pike is that it really stretches out your hamstrings and your cervical spine. So with that being said, enough talk. Let me get down here, and I'm going to lay out the mat, and I'm going to show you what it would look like. Okay, so the first thing you do, and I'm going to show it to you, don't worry, from both sides, from the front and then from this side. What you do is you go down into the seated squat, and you sit for 5 to 10 seconds. Then you place your hands on the ground, and then you roll your legs back into a pike position as such. But you take your hat off first. And then you come back up. Whew. I'm sure that looked cool. Then you come back up, back into the seated squat position. Now I'm sure you could see when I did that, how it would stretch out my lower spine and my hamstrings. You'll be able to see it better from the side. So I'm gonna do it one more time from the front and then from the side. So, as you can see, I've got to the point where I can pike all the way with my feet to the ground. But if you can't, that's no problem. Just Rover, just come back as far as you can. Keep your feet extended out, and you're gonna find that your hamstrings are gonna start to stretch and your lower back as well. So let me move. Okay, so that's it for today and our 2 new drills. That brings us to a total of 6 over the past 3 days. We learned the seated squat. We learned the dead hang. We learned the sit-throughs. We learned the switches. We learned today the bear crawl, and we learned the seated squat variation with the pike. So that brings us to a total of 6 that we have in our morning routine. In our next video, that's right, 2 more, right? And I'm so super excited about these 2 because these are 2 of my absolute favorites. So I can't wait to share it with you. So until next time, remember, as always, the Bible tells us in Psalms 139 that each and every one of us was fearfully and wonderfully made by our Creator above. And it is in Him that we live and move and have our being. So please, for the rest of this week, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, and whatever you do, that's right, you gotta keep getting stronger. And I'm out. Ah!